Okay, so thank you. Now, when it comes to sense verbs, some sense verbs actually can be used as a regular action verb. Okay, so usually for sense verbs, we don't use an adverb to modify them. Okay, but if we, let's say, or if the sense verb is used as an action word, so we can basically use them as, or we can use together with an adverb. Okay, or for adjectives. So adjectives, for example, the word looked. So in this case, look here is not used as a sense verb. It's used as an action. She looked, action. So that will be the time that we can use an adverb instead of an adjective. Okay? Questions? Here, so she looked angrily. So why do we use angrily here? It answers the question how. How did she look? So she looked angrily. Okay? So instead of an adjective, so like this one, feels rough. So we do not anymore use an adjective because look here is not used as a sense verb. It's used as an action. So we do not use, so if it's an action, we use an adverb. Questions? No questions on this? All right. Next one. Let's see more here. Let's have Vijay. You read the next one after. Okay, so before the article. So what are the articles again? So we only have 3 articles in the English language. So what are those articles? Let's have more here. Okay, look. Articles. Do you still remember what are the articles in the English language? Articles. We just had this yesterday. Almost every day. Articles. Okay, Hong Mei. Articles. Okay, and the. So those are examples of articles. Okay? So I need you to take a look at the examples. So let's have Ken. Can you read the first one? Okay, so us crowded, a city, as Tokyo. Okay, so where is our adjective? Okay, so crowded. So if you notice, crowded here is before the article. Okay, so there. So it comes before the article if we are going to use the following phrases or the following words. Okay. So another example, how crowded a city is Tokyo. So crowded comes before the article. Okay. So I don't really want you to memorize this, but I need you to be familiar so that by the time that you use them in sentences, you know where your adjectives and adverbs will be found. Okay? Next one, let's have Yo. Can you read the next bullet? Some adjectives. The third bullet at the end.
Some adjectives only appear after the verb and not before the verb. This includes adjectives beginning with a, such as afraid, alive, alive, alone, asleep, awake.
Okay, so there you go. All right, now, when you say asleep, can we put an adverb before the word asleep? What is asleep? What kind of word is asleep? A boy was asleep. Anyone asleep? What's up, Cash? What is asleep? Asleep is asleep a noun? So what kind of word is asleep? It's an adjective. It describes something or someone. Okay? Now, normally these kinds of words, alright? So normally it only appears after a verb. Okay? We cannot use this before a verb. Okay? So there. So we cannot say an asleep boy. It's not correct. So they never will be. So some adjectives, they may come before or after a verb. So they may come before the noun that it modifies, or it could be put after the noun that it modifies, or after the verb. But in this case, these verbs will only appear after the verb. So where is our verb here? Where is our verb? Okay, so the word was. Questions? Clear? Okay. Now, when we also use adjectives in sentences, it doesn't mean that we can only use one adjective per sentence. So we could actually use multiple adjectives, but again, you have to know their positions. You cannot just randomly put adjectives in a series without considering their positions. All right? Now, this is basically the order of the adjectives. And then when you write them in series, you have to put a comma. So we cannot just put the adjectives in sentences without commas. So there has to be a comma to separate them. Okay? So for example, let's have Mon, can you read this? Okay, so there you go. So if you are going to describe something, so normally we put an adjective. Okay. However, in some cases we do not. For example, this one. All right. So we got a lovely little wooden cabin in the mountains. So we do not put any commas. All right. So, but most of the time, if you already have 4 or 5, so that would be the time that we put commas. Okay. All right. Now, order. So this is basically the order of the adjectives in the sentence. So the first one would be adjectives that, or opinion adjectives. So they're called judgment or opinion adjectives based on what you feel, what you hear, what you think. So for example, lovely. Lovely is an example of an opinion adjective. Why do you think it's an opinion adjective? Let's have these. Why do you think this is called an opinion or a judgment adjective? Or based on judgment? Okay, so when we judge, we have different ways of judging something, right? Okay, for example, I may find something lovely, but others don't. Okay, so we don't have the same taste, we don't have the same preferences. So this is why we use them, or we call them as opinion adjectives. So opinion adjectives comes first, followed by size. Can you give me an example of an adjective that describes size? Let's have it. A word that tells us about size. An adjective that describes size. Size. How big, how small. Okay, so small, very good. What else? Come on. Big. What else? Only those words? Very simple. What else? Yes, that. At the back. Adjectives, yes. Huge, okay. Any others? What else? Adjectives that describe size. Let's have, yes, Mom. Large, okay. You're giving me synonyms. What else? Medium size, right? So there. So those are examples of adjectives that describe size. Okay? Next one, shape. Okay, can you tell me what shape is this? What shape is this? Let's have Ken. Ken. What shape is this? What's this shape called? What shape? Again? Hard, not hurt. Hard. Hard shape. Okay? What about this shape? Let's have. What shape is this? Let's have Ming. What shape is this, Ming? What do you call this shape? I'm sorry? shape? Anyone? You can tell? It's not a circle. What do you call this shape? Zhao. What's the shape, Zhao? Oval. Very good. This is an oval. Okay? What about this one? What shape is this? Let's have fun. What shape? Diamond. Very good. Next one. What about this shape? What do you call this shape? Let's have Liên. Triangle. Okay? So we can use adjectives. For example, this one, if you're going to use this as an adjective, triangular. There. Adjective, heart shape. Oval itself, we can already use the word oval as an adjective. Okay? So diamond shape or diamond. Diamond is also can be used as an adjective in a sentence. Diamond ring. So there. Okay? So next one, color. So I think everyone knows what a color is, right? Okay. Next one, origin. So where are they from? Okay, for example, things that are made in Japan. So what's the adjective? Japanese. So there. So this is what we call an adjective to describe where something is from or the origin. Material. Can you give me an example of a material that we can use as an adjective? Let's have, okay, so what is this made of? What is this made of? That? Plastic. So we can use the word plastic as an adjective. What else? What about this one? What is this made of? Yes? Is this made of paper? No, not really. Yes, no? Metal. Okay, so there you go. What about your chair? What is your chair made of? It's made of more than one type of material, right? So what is it made of? Let's have none. What is your chair made of? Okay, it's made of iron. Okay, look at wood. So there you go. So those are examples of materials. Purpose. What is it for? For example, what do we call a table that we use to eat? When we eat at the kitchen, what do we call a table in our kitchen? What do we call a table in our kitchen? Or in, yes. Table that we use for eating. What do we call that table? Yes, come on. What do we call that table? Eating table? I don't think so. It's not eating table, yes. Dining table. Okay, so what do we call the room that we sleep? What do we call the room that we sleep? Yes? Room that we sleep. Yes. Your bedroom. So there you go. So bedroom. So bed is an example of an adjective together with a noun. What kind? The verb. Understood? Questions? Okay. So there you go. Alright, now I have here some examples of sentences. Let me know what are they or what types of adjectives are they, okay? So the first one, let's have that. Can you read? Okay, so lovely is judgment. What about little? Little is size. What about wooden? Material. Okay, so there you go. Next one. Let's have. Let's see what else are here. Okay, yo. Can you read the next one, yo? I love. Okay, so long. What kind of word is long? Yeah. Size. It's actually less, but it's pretty much the same. What about red? Color. Chinese. origin. Very good. Silk. Material. Good job. Okay, next one. Let's have, what else have I not solved? Let me see. What day? Naman, 0426, are you there? Naman? Is Naman around?
Yes, again.
Okay. All right, so can you read the third sentence?
What you need for your living room is a lot of dining table.
Okay, large. What kind of word is large, Naman?
Is size.
Size. Very good. What about oak?
Material.
Material. What about dining?
Purpose.
Purpose. So there you go. Questions? Clear? Okay, now this time, I need you to think of a noun and use at least 3 adjectives to describe that noun. Okay? Only one noun, but you have to use 3 or more adjectives if you like to describe that noun. Okay? So I will be giving you 30 seconds. Think of one noun and then use an adjective. I need you to use at least 3 adjectives. Again, think of a noun and use at least 3 adjectives to describe that noun. What are we going to do, Hai? What are we going to do? What are you going to do? When you're seated there. What are you going to do? You don't know what to do? So I don't want you to sit there. Okay, again, we're going to think of a noun. Use at least 3 adjectives to describe that noun. At least. If you want to use more, then it's fine. You don't have to send your answers, it's fine, guys. I'll just call you. Try to also consider the noun that you are describing, okay? So your adjective should also be appropriate to the noun that you are describing. Do not just use random adjectives. Okay, who would like to start? Anyone? Let's see. Okay, let's have Kumyo. Now, can you think of a noun? Cannot? Okay, let's start with Hai. Not a sentence, just a noun. What noun? Take your voice louder. Stable? Stable, okay. So what adjectives can we use? Again? Let's see Hai's answer. What was my instruction again? You're not listening. I said at least 3. Can you think of 2 others? Okay, so let's skip Hai for now. Let's have Okay, Ankoi, HT. Is Ankoi here? Ankoi, okay, Koi. And you think of a noun, and then together with your adjectives. At least 3 adjectives. So we have here different kinds. So these are examples. A noun together with at least 3 adjectives. You don't have to construct sentences. I'm not asking you to make a sentence. Just the adjectives, 3 at least, and then the noun that they modify. Okay? Long. King. That's only 2. I said at least 3. You need one more. Do we say long? Long bedroom? Large? Okay. You need one more. It's okay, so bedroom is fine. So large, big, bedroom, okay? So your bedroom is pink? Okay. Can you call someone? Call someone. Call another person. It's okay. That's her. Okay, Tian. Sorry? Computer? Okay, so what's your phrase? So you computer. What's the first word? Modern. Rectangular. Rectangular. Black. Computer. Okay, so there. So modern, rectangular, black, computer. Okay. Can you call another person? Call another person faster. Huh? Another person. He's already done. Faster. Faster. We're waiting. Hmm? All 4. 0624. 0626. Name? I don't think I can answer it. Okay, let's have Leanne. Yeah. Large. Large, huge, it's the same. Again, large. Blue. Plastic. Bold. Like this. Volt. PA. Ball. Okay, so large blue plastic ball. Okay, one more. Volunteer. No volunteer? Okay, call someone. Okay, cat. You like big. Pink? Not big. Pink. Okay. Big. Pink. Diamond. Necklace. Okay, so there. Questions? Okay, so just make sure that you are familiar with the order of the adjectives. So just in case you would need to use more than one, you know their order in sentences, okay? All right, so this time, let's talk about adjectives that are used as nouns. So again, depending on how you use words, technically we can use words in different ways, okay? For example, let's say if a word is technically a noun, we can use nouns as adjectives, okay? So just to give you an example, let's have someone read this. Let's have Lynn. Would you read the sentence? For the poor, okay? So the word poor here is actually an adjective, right? But if we put the together with the word the poor, we're actually referring to a group of people, okay? A group of people. In this case, in this sentence, we do not use poor as an adjective. So we use it as a noun. So for the poor, okay? So another one, let's have long. Can you read this? Refer. Okay, so this is pretty much the same. So when we write the together with some adjectives, so we can use it to refer to the specific groups of people. For example, the injured. So when you say the injured, people who got injured. Okay, so we're referring to that group. In this case, injured is not anymore used as an adjective. We use it as a noun in the sentence. Okay. All right, this one, nationalities. Okay, so nationalities, technically speaking, they are nouns. However, we can also use them as an adjective. So when we put the word the, okay, and even if we put them together with a different noun, for example, let's say Italian pasta. So Italian here becomes an adjective. What kind? What type of pasta? Okay. So example, the French have introduced new housing regulations in Paris. So the French here. So when you say the French, when you say the French, let's have the end. The French. What's the French? Okay, so people from France. Okay, so from the country France. So in this case, the French here, it can be used as, or let's say French here is used as an adjective, and also at the same time, a noun. Okay. All right. Questions about adjectives? No? Okay, so this time let's talk about adverbs. Okay. So basically, adverbs can be used or can be placed at different positions in sentences. Okay. So we can use adjectives before the word that they modify. We can also use adverbs at the end. We can put them at the end of the sentence. Again, depending on their purpose. Okay. All right. Okay, so the first one, let's have, can you read? Adverbs do not, between, and it's direct. Okay, so remember verbs, we actually have verbs that we can use an object with, right? So transitive, intransitive verbs. So, if we are going to use a transitive verb, meaning to say a verb with a direct object, and we also use an adverb at the same time to modify that verb do not appear between the verb and the direct object. Okay? For example, let's have that. Okay, so where is our verb? Okay, so build. Where's the direct object? Okay, so very good. So this is your object. Okay, where's our adverb? Okay, it's actually very quickly. Okay, so we cannot say they built very quickly the house. We cannot. In some cases, some adverbs we can put them together or before the noun. Okay, or between, let's say between the verb and, let's say, before the verb or after the verb. But in this case, we cannot do this. They built very quickly the house. Okay? Next one. Let's have Taman. Can you use this? words. Okay, all right. Now, there are some verbs that we use auxiliary verbs with. For example, continuous verbs. So how do we form continuous verbs? We use a be verb plus verb in ing form. Am I right? So the be verb here in continuous form. So this is what we call an auxiliary verb or a helping verb. So another example, perfect tenses. So we use has, have, or had. So these are what we call auxiliary verbs. So auxiliary verb plus our main action verb. Okay? Now, if we are going to put an adverb, okay, together with those types of verbs. So again, remember, the adverb normally follows the auxiliary verb. So for example, let's have coming. Can you read this? Okay, so where is our verb here? What's the verb here? The town has always been popular with tourists. What's the verb? Very simple. What is the verb here? Where's lead? There's no lead here. This is our sentence. Then, that's not correct. You lack something. Where's our verb here? Let's have be. The other be. Where's your verb? Is it has? Not only has. Something's missing. It actually has been. What verb tense is this? Be. What verb tense? Has been. Present. Present perfect. Okay, so if we're going to use, again, remember, if we are going to use a verb with an auxiliary verb or auxiliary verb, and we use an adverb, so we put the adverb in between or after the auxiliary verb. So example, always. Always is actually an example of an adjective. What kind of adjective is always? So an adjective that tells us how often. So this is an adverb of frequency. Okay? So we use this to talk about how often. So how often has it been popular? Always been popular. Okay? So we put always after the auxiliary verb. Questions? Clear? So another example. Let's have someone read. Let's have Kanmo. Can you read this? Okay, so where is our verb here? Where is our verb? Not really. The complete verb. Something's missing. So will have been decorated. Okay, so will here is actually also part of the verb. So will have been decorated by the time that you go there. So what verb is this? What kind of verb? Will have been decorated. What's that naman? What verb is this? Will have been decorated. Will. Will have been decorated. It's actually future. Okay, so future perfect. Okay, so yes, future perfect in passive. So there, okay? So, where is our adverb? Where's the adverb? Where is the adverb there? Probably. Okay, so if you notice, we actually have more than one auxiliary verb in the sentence. Will, have, and been. This is our main verb. So again, we put the adverb after the first auxiliary. So this is our first auxiliary, the word will. So probably comes after will. Okay? So again, if there is an auxiliary verb and we use an adverb, put the adverb after the first auxiliary. Next one. Let's have that at the back. Adverbs of. And. Be. And. Comes. Okay, so there you go. All right, now, so also always remember, if you're going to use adverbs of frequency, these are examples of adverbs of frequency. Always, never, sometimes. So normally we put them after the auxiliary verb and be verbs. But for other verbs, they come before, not after. Okay? Questions? Clear? Okay, so just to give you an example. She always plays at night. Okay, so let me have Penlin. Where's our verb here? Sorry. Plays. Where's our verb? Penlin. Okay, so plays. What kind of verb is play? Yes. What kind of word is play? Is play an auxiliary verb? It's not an auxiliary verb. We only have one. Remember, auxiliary verb comes before the main verb. We only have one verb here, right? Play. So what kind of verb is play? It's an action verb. It expresses actions. Where is our adverb? Where is our adverb, Candy? Okay, so there. So, see? So, if it's, let's say, for example, if we use other types of verbs, so for example, play, so we put the adverb before the verb. But for, let's say, adverbs of frequency, so they follow after auxiliary verbs and be verbs. So this one. So will, probably. So this adverb of frequency follows after an auxiliary verb. Do you understand? Questions? No questions on this? Do you have any questions? Okay. Okay, next one. Let's have Fong. Are you taking notes, Fong? Can you read? Connecting. Okay, so connecting adverbs. Again, we have different kinds of adverbs. So we have adverbs of frequency. We also have adverbs that tells us how, let's say, how something is used. We also have adverbs of time. Okay, so every day, or let's say at night. So those are actually adverbs of time. That is also an example of an adverb. So an adverb that is used to tell order, time. Okay? So usually when we use these adjectives, we use this to connect. So we connect. So if you notice, we use the word that to connect the two ideas. So we bought it as an investment, then all property prices are prices in the area. So we connect these two sentences using the word then. Okay, so if we use this type of adverb, so we usually use it at the beginning of the clause. So this is the clause, we put it here. Questions? Clear? Can we put it here at the end of the sentence? Can we? Yeah? So we bought it as an investment, all property prices in the area fell down. Not really, right? So we use it to connect. So there. Questions? No questions? All right. Okay, now this time, let's talk about comparatives and superlatives. So both adjectives and adverbs have their comparative and superlative forms, okay? So normally for adjectives, how do we form comparative for adjectives? Can you still remember? What do we do with an adjective? when we form its comparative form. That comparison. For example, big. What's the comparative form for big? Okay, so we add. What do we add? We add ER, right? Okay. In some cases, we double the last consonant. So yes, we add ER or R, or sometimes we even add IER. So if the word ends with a Y. So that's what you mean by comparative. So when you say comparative, you're comparing two things, two people. For example, what's up, Ken? Can you stand? Stand up. You can stand up? Okay. And then that, can you stand up? Okay, so the word tall. I need you to use the word tall to describe that and Ken. What's up, Ken? No, can you describe them? Can you compare them? Use the word tall. Okay, very good. You can say it. All right, so you say taller, we add ER, and then we use the word that. Okay, so there. So this is normally how we use adjectives to compare things. So we add ER, R, or IER, and then we add the word that. Understood? Questions? Okay. What if they're the same? What if they're the same? So instead of saying taller than, what if they are of the same height? You say equal? Tall. What if they are the same? What if they're of the same height? Use. Okay, very good. As. No changes. Adjective and then as. Questions? So this is still also comparative. So we use comparative form of adjectives if we're comparing two things to people. Okay? Questions? No questions? Okay. Alright, so we can also use adverbs to modify. So remember, adverbs modify adjectives. So example, the word bigger. Alright, but how big? So we can use the word much. So let's have Leanne, can you read the sentence for us? You're flat. Okay, so here, bigger. Alright, so how big? So how much bigger? Much bigger. So this is what we call an adverb. So adverb, adjective. So this one, adjective in comparative form. So another example, least favorite. So this is actually an adjective. So last, lesser, least. Best. What is the base form for the word best? What is the base form for the word best? What adjective is it? Yes? Okay, good. What's the comparative form? Comparative. Best is actually superlative. Okay, better. And then best. Okay, so these adjectives are called, what kinds of adjectives are they? They're called irregular adjectives. So sometimes we do not add ER or EST to an adverb in comparative or superlative form. Instead, we change their form. So those are called irregular adjectives. So another example, the word bad. What is the comparative form for the word bad? Do we say badder? Okay, so what's the comparative form? Let's have the other dad. Okay, how do we spell? Can you take over your phones? Okay, that's it? D, okay, so super D first? T? Not really? Bad. Is it like this? Are you sure? actually worse. And then worst. Okay? Alright, questions? No questions on this? Okay, alright. So other forms of comparatives and superlatives. So I will not be discussing them one by one. If you want, you can take a photo. Some of these adverbs and adjectives, we actually use this in task 1 writing. Okay, and then also just be careful, you have to understand the impact of these words in terms of meaning, okay? For example, the word, let's say, let's have the, can you read the first sentence? Paper. Okay, so there you go. So if you say not nearly as strong as, it actually means that there's a big difference between paper and plastic. Okay, so nearly. But if the word is quite, can you read the sentence? Okay, so in this case, quite here actually means small difference. So there, okay? So you have to know the impact of words in terms of meaning in your sentences. Okay, next one. So we also have what we call gradable and ungradable adjectives. So usually when we say gradable adjectives, we can use superlatives and comparatives. Okay? But for ungradable adjectives, they're already extreme. So that is why we cannot anymore use another adjective or adverb to, let's say you cannot use another adverb to give them descriptions or to put meaning on them some more. Okay? For example, the word fantastic, exhausted. So if you're going to modify them, you will have to use a stronger adverb. We cannot use weaker adverbs. Okay? So just to give you an example, let's have that. Can you read this?
After working on the units, I would say that was absolutely
Exhausted. Okay, so what do you mean by exhausted? What's exhausted? Who can tell me what exhausted means? Okay. What's exhausted? Yes? Nope. What's exhausted? Exhausted means very tired. Okay, so you're already very tired. So if you're going to modify this, you need to have a strong adverb. You cannot use a weak adverb. Okay, so that is why we say absolutely exhausted. Completely exhausted. So these are examples of strong adverbs. So if the adverb or the adjective is already strong, do not use a weak adverb. Can we say slightly exhausted? It does not. Okay, it doesn't make sense. You're already exhausted. So we cannot use the word slight. Slight means little, right? So exhausted is already very, very tired. So we cannot put them together. Alright? Okay. So tired, we can say a bit. But exhausted, very tired, we cannot say a bit exhausted. Okay? It doesn't make sense. Alright, next one. Let's talk about some adjectives and adverbs that are quite confusing. Okay, so why do you think they're confusing? Because they have different forms, but sometimes one form could mean another one. Let's say it could mean more than one meaning. Okay? So just to give you an example, so these are some. Okay, so let's take for example the word hard. Okay, so hard, hardly. So let's have someone read this. Let's have me. Can you read this? Okay, so very hard material. So hard here, what's this word used? Is it used as an adverb or an adjective? This is an adjective, very good. It describes what word? Material. What about the second sentence? Let's have yet. Okay, so hard here. Is this an adjective or an adverb? Actually not an adjective. It is an adverb. Why do you think it's an adverb? What does it modify? What does it describe? The word hit. What kind of word is hit? Verb. So there. So if you notice hard, can either be used as an adjective or an adverb, depending on what word it modifies. But we can also use the word hardly. We can put ly. So this is also an adverb. So he could hardly hear the music. Okay? So there. So that's why they're called confusing, because sometimes we don't have to change the form, but they can be used in more than one way. Okay? Questions? No questions on this? Okay. Alright. And then also, usually if we form an adverb, especially adverb of manner, how something is done, we add ly. Right? For example, significant, significantly. So we just add ly to a verb, or I mean to an adjective. But there are also some adjectives that end with ly, and they're not adverbs. So these are examples. So friendly, is friendly an adverb? It's not an adverb, right? So it's actually an adjective. Okay, so friendly, deadly, costly, lonely, lovely. So they end in ly, but they are adjectives. They're not adverbs. Questions? Clear? No questions? Okay, so since there are no more questions, so I need you to grab a sheet of paper. Or if you don't have a sheet of paper, you can use your notepad. All phones, I need you to keep your phones, no phones on your desk. Again, no phones on your desk. Okay, so this time I will be giving you a form. You have to write your answer in a sheet of paper, okay? So do not paste your answer on the form. We will be using the form later to submit your scores, okay? Alright, so this is the form. And then I need you to take note of the exercises that you should answer. Okay, let's have them act.
Yes.
Okay, can you tell me if you can open the form?
Yes, I can.
Okay, everyone take note. Take note of the exercises that you are supposed to answer. Answer letter A, C, D, E, F, H, J, H, I, J, K. Alright, so again, A, C, do not answer B, okay? A, C, D, E, F, H, I, J, K.